Hi guys, I'm Ivory and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a full review and wear test on the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation. I'm going to be showing you on camera how this applies initially and then checking in throughout the day to show you how it wears. For anyone that's new here, I have both oily and acne prone skin, so a lot of my wear tests are geared towards people with similar skin types. And if you find that this foundation review was helpful, I will link up here a playlist of all of the other foundation reviews I have done in case there was a foundation you were curious about and maybe I've already tested it, so I will leave it up here so that you can go check them out. Before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every single week, and also be sure to follow me on my social media. Everything is _ivorycherry. Let's get started. Okay, so the bottle is a squeezy tube, and since it's totally clear, it's nice to just hold up to your face or your neck to see if it will match you at the store. The foundation does contain 1 fluid ounce, which is really standard for most foundations that I've had. The foundation is supposed to be full coverage. It has antioxidants and it has pollution protection and it has SPF 50, which is really high for a foundation, and I actually really like that. I'm going to start out by priming. I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Matte Lock Primer, and I'm just going to add it into the places where I'm the oiliest. So that would be my nose, my T-zone, and my chin, and then whatever's remaining I'm just going to spread out. And I will say that Maybelline in general is my favorite makeup brand. Anybody on this channel that's been with me for a while knows that the Maybelline Superstay is one of my top 3 favorite foundations. It's so good. The coverage is great. It's long lasting. But that is to say that not every product of theirs works for me. I actually really do not like the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. I've tried it so many different times, different techniques, and I've tried it years apart too. I think 3 times, and they were all years apart, and each time it doesn't work out for me. So to see what applicator works better with this foundation, on this side I will be using a brush, and on this side I will be using a beauty sponge. I love both of these tools to apply foundation, so I will link both of them in the description box below. This foundation is extremely liquidy, and it does actually smell quite SPF-y, which isn't a horrible thing to me, but some people really cannot stand smells. And a lot of people really hate the smell of SPF. This is in the shade 228 Soft Tan. Typically in the Superstay, I'm in between the shades 220, which is natural beige, or I think 310, which is sun beige. The Superstay doesn't have Soft Tan, but I know Soft Tan comes in the matte and poreless shade range. So this shade is right in between those 2 shades that I always was in the Superstay, so I'm really happy that this shade is back in this collection. Okay, so right off the bat, this doesn't look full coverage to me. I can still see my discoloration. I would say that this is a sheer medium coverage on the first layer. I usually do 2. I will say though that this feels extremely light because it was so watery. I feel like if I did a 3rd layer, it would feel like how my skin usually feels when I put 2 layers of normal foundation on. Not normal, but like my regular foundations. Before I put on my 2nd layer, I like to wait like 4 minutes in between each coat. I never said it on camera, and I never thought to do so until I collabed with Caroline, who pointed out that it was a somewhat important piece of information to tell you guys. I always wait like 3 to 5 minutes before I apply the 2nd layer because I feel like it's way more full coverage that way. The way I think about it is like if you're painting your nails. You never paint the 1st coat and then right away go in with the 2nd coat because you're just moving nail polish around. It's gonna get goopy. So a normal person would usually paint the 1st coat of nail polish and then move on to the other fingers before returning to the initial one for the 2nd layer. And that's kind of the philosophy that I have with my face. So this is the 1st layer using a brush. As you can see, lots of discoloration and skin peeking through. The finish is very skin-like, very natural. I actually really like that. Lately, I've been really more into the natural look versus just looking super duper matte. That's how I've been doing my makeup for years, trying to look as matte as possible. But over time, your taste changes, and I've been more into not dewy, but just very natural looking skin. And I don't really feel like one side is better than the other. I'm gonna go ahead and apply my 2nd coat now, same with one side with the brush and then the other side with a sponge. So I wanted to talk to you guys about an idea I had for future wear tests, and I wanted some feedback as to whether or not you like this idea or if you like things just the way they are. So I was thinking for not all wear tests, but for maybe a couple of wear tests, I was considering doing a 3-day wear test, and each day would be about the same, still like 10 to 12 hours, and each day would be broken up. So maybe the first day is like half the face with primer, half without primer. And then the second day would be maybe applying powder underneath your skin before applying foundation. And then the other side would have no powder underneath the foundation. But of course, I would still powder on top of the foundation. And then the third day could be taking the 2 days information and then kind of just reassuring myself on the third day. Kind of like tying up loose ends would be the third day. I would think a video like that would be a little bit longer, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I ask that before you make a decision to just watch at least one of my wear tests to get a feel for how they actually are currently, because I feel like I have them basically down to a science of like how they're going to be structured. And I will say that of all the wear tests that I do, I would say about 98% of the time, whatever my opinions on camera are, when I try them again off of camera, my opinions stay the same. So if something sucked on camera, I still don't like it to this day. If something's really good and I express it, I still use it, or it's in my storage as a backup. There have been times on camera where I'm like iffy about a foundation, like it looks really good at the 6-hour mark, and then around the 9-hour mark, it just went downhill. So I'm always kind of like, about them. I would say those types of reviews are the 2% where I haven't like changed my mind, but I still like to this day, I'm not sure if I could recommend them. Like they're not horrible, but they're not mind-blowing type of situation. All of that is to say that I was thinking about doing a 3-day wear test, but I feel like my current ones are doing okay, but maybe someone wants something more thorough, so just let me know your thoughts. Okay, so this is 2 coats of the foundation. It made a huge difference. I feel like this is more medium now. I do still see a little bit of my skin peeking through. I really feel like both sides look pretty much exactly the same. In terms of coverage especially, I can't tell a difference. There's no brush strokes on this side, so I think with either applicator, you're gonna be good. I'm debating adding a 3rd layer because it feels really light. I think that this foundation, because it is really watery, it can handle that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a 3rd coat only in just this area because that's where I need the most coverage. So I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and do that with a sponge. All right, so that 2.5 layer is pretty much how I would like my foundation. It's very natural looking. I really like the way that my skin is looking right now before setting it. Of course, I have to set it because there's no way this is gonna last for 10 to 12 hours without powder. I just wanted to give you a little close-up before I set everything. I still have a little bit of skin peeking through. I would say that this is a medium-ish foundation, not completely full, especially if I had to get over 2 coats to get it here. And that's the thing with having acne-prone skin. What may be full coverage to you is not full coverage to us because we have so much more to cover. Anyone that has flawless skin, even a medium cover foundation will look full on you because you have nothing to cover. So you need less product to get an even base. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do the rest of my face. I of course want the focus of this video to be the foundation, but a lot of you expressed that you would rather see the entire process of my face being done. So I'm just gonna do that really quickly. And as always, all of the products that I use are in my description box below. So back to the actual review, this is what it looks like up close. It is matte now that everything is set. I'm not so sure that I agree that this is full coverage, maybe on someone that doesn't have any acne or hyperpigmentation, but that's not the life that I live. So in my opinion, this is more like medium full, like right in between that gray area between the two. But I did like the finish. I like the way it's sitting on my face. That smell of SPF is no longer lingering, so it will dissipate. And one thing about my skin is when I have acne, the skin that's on top of the acne is usually kind of crusty, and sometimes foundation can like cling to it and it looks like crunchy, I would say. That's not happening with this foundation. Everything looks really good. Everything is sitting pretty nicely on top of it, as nice as it could be. I think other than the coverage, everything looks really good. I'm not against medium coverage foundations. I'm just saying if you're gonna put full coverage on your packaging, then it better be full coverage. So that is it for the first impressions. I'm gonna go on about my day. It is a hot one, so this is really going to be put to the test. I'm going to try and check in around the halfway point, if not maybe a little later than that, to show you how it's wearing. So I will be back. Okay, so we have reached the 7-hour mark. As you can see, I am noticeably shinier. From this distance, I feel like I don't look too bad. I definitely have a glow going on. And if I weren't doing a wear test, I would 100% be blotting right now. But as always with my wear test, I blot at the very end of my videos. Getting up close, you can see that everything is pretty much still covered, at least on my cheeks and my forehead. When you get to this area, it is starting to settle a little bit in the wrinkles, and also on my nose it's just beginning to get a little bit splotchy and start to shear out, but I don't have like those weird oils collecting in the sides of my nose. I also notice right here my smile line, I'm starting to get that crack, because you can see it doesn't form here, it only forms on this side of my mouth. Why? I don't know, but I do see it coming in. So I feel like overall the coverage is still there and it's holding up okay. It's just that it's letting a lot of my natural oils come through. So that is what you're seeing after 7 hours of wear. I think that's everything that really needs to be noted at this check-in. So I'm gonna keep going on about my day and I will see you in a couple more hours. All right, so it is now a little over the 10-hour mark. I don't feel like I look that much more oilier than the 7-hour mark. I feel like I look relatively the same. When my husband came home from work today, he actually said that he liked my foundation, and that sentence has never come out of his mouth ever. He has said in the past that he likes my makeup, but never just my actual foundation. I did ask him why, and he said that he thought the coverage was decent and that out of all my foundations, it doesn't look cakey and it looks very natural. And I would have to say I agree with him. There's something about this foundation that just looks like your skin, but better. So getting up close, I'm not gonna deny that I still look quite shiny, especially on my nose. I feel like I look like I put cling wrap on my nose and it's like laminated or something. Even though the foundation was starting to get splotchy, at this point it has still not completely broken up, like it's still holding on. Everywhere else I feel like it stayed intact. My main areas are always my T-zone, which I feel like looks pretty good, as well as my chin, which I also feel like it's holding on. I said I wanted to blot at the 7-hour mark, but with all my wear tests I blot till the very end, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. These are from Amazon. I will link them in the description box below. I'm also gonna go ahead and take a beauty blender and kind of just touch up all of the areas. I'm not adding any more product. This is still like semi-damp from the morning, and now that the oils are away, I like this foundation. I will admit that typically I would want something more full coverage than this, especially since I can get this type of coverage with one coat from, say, my CoverGirl Healthy Elixir or like my Maybelline Superstay. But I think if you have dry skin or combo oily skin, you're really gonna like this. With people with oily skin, just note that around the 6-7 hour mark, I would have wanted to blot, but I didn't. So I think around that mark, it's not that bad. Now that I have blotted, one thing I wanted to note is that this side of my nose right here, there's really no more foundation. It rubbed off. Everywhere else though, I mean, it it does look a little bit worn. I can see like my skin kind of crinkling a little bit on my forehead and right here in my chin area, but it's not super detectable. So to answer whether I would recommend this, absolutely. But bear in mind, I know we live in a world right now where almost everybody prefers full coverage. I don't think that if you have acne worse than mine and you're looking for a really good coverage, I'm not sure that this is for you. But if you like a sheer to medium-ish type of coverage, you can get there. You might have to build it up a little bit. So that is it for this review. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like this video. And if I haven't tested out a foundation that you really wanted to try, feel free to comment down below what it is so that I can go out and try it for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.